Among North America's 5 million-plus Muslims are numerous doctors, engineers, scientists, teachers, and other professionals. Their contributions to our society have at times been as impressive as the Sears Tower in Chicago. As leading people in their fields, these Muslims are continuing Islam's civilizational legacy. The foundation of each mosque is the Muslim family. Thousands of families across the United States and Canada, from different nationalities and backgrounds, have come together to help establish their local mosques. It's not uncommon for these same families to assist mosques in other cities once their own is complete. In Islam, great care and attention is paid in keeping family bonds strong and secure. A basic test of Islamic character is how a Muslim treats his or her family members.
Traditionally, the Muslim family has always been the heart of Islamic society. And this is why, for example, in Sharia, in Islamic law, family law is considered the heart of the Sharia.
The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, advised all of his companions that when you're seeking a spouse, to look for first quality should be piety. You may look for wealth, you may look for beauty. It's not that you can't or you shouldn't, it's a natural thing, obviously, but that first quality should be piety. Piety is the foundation of the family. If piety is there, obviously you build everything on that.
The word for human being in Arabic, the root meaning of it is the one that means intimacy. That human beings by their nature are creatures of society. We are social creatures. The family is the root of human society in the sense that this is where we get our socialization. This is where we get our humanity. When the Quran speaks of the beginning of Adam and Eve, it gives us a picture of a man and a woman who both sinned and both asked for forgiveness, and Allah forgave them. It gives us the image of a complementary pair, not that one is supreme over the other or that there is a conflict going on between the genders.
An enduring stereotype of Islam is its treatment of women. Most of us see Muslim women as victims of oppression. These images are often offensive to Muslims, who point to the sweeping rights given to women over 1,400 years ago during the Prophet Muhammad's time. Women were recognized as full persons under the law. A woman was entitled to the same reward or punishment from God as a man. Women were allowed to own their own property and operate their own businesses. They were given equal pay for doing the same work as a man. They were given the exclusive right to use their money as they pleased. They had the right to vote and keep their own name after marriage. They were given the right to initiate a divorce, and they were given rights of inheritance.
Women started realizing, hey, we're getting the short end of the stick here. What's going on? Why can't I own this? Why can't I do this? Why can't I work? Why can't I own a business? Why does he have everything? So, the awareness came into the Western woman, and she, of course, slowly started making a few complaints here and there. And then, of course, everything always does that. It just kind of comes to a boiling point. And then 30 years ago, you have this big outburst of women saying, hey, we're not taking this anymore. We want our rights. The whole idea was that women had to go to war in this country against men to get what they wanted. Whereas in the Islamic world, in the Muslim women, the rights were always there, so there was never a war. One of the things that gets lost, say, in how the West loves to describe Muslim women as oppressed and downtrodden, is that I don't think that there's genuinely any concern for whether women are oppressed. You have Islam, and then you have what some Muslims do. And usually that comes out of ignorance, or out of traditional customs and values that predate the fact that at a certain point they became Muslims. It has nothing to do with Islam.
However, when you have a context where you have ignorance and stereotyping already of a religion and a culture, and you see that religion through the prism of headline events that are explosive, then all things are believable.
When a woman asked me, say that to me, go back to where you came from. I said, where am I going to go? I came from here. I'm an American. And she just looked at me and she walked away.
I'm really happy to wear the hijab, and I enjoy it very much.
I've had women ask me questions about it, curiously, and I, of course, tried to clear all the misconceptions about it and tell them the advantages of wearing this, that I'm safe anywhere. I can walk anywhere in the city of Chicago. As long as I'm wearing this hijab, no one bothers me. I consider it my coat of armor, actually.
If you see a Muslim man or a Muslim woman dressing modestly, they're giving you a message. They're saying, Don't deal with my body, deal with my mind.
One of the most fascinating things about Islam is its sense of a global community, or brotherhood. More than 45 countries in the world have majority Muslim populations. In countries like India and China, Muslims are in a minority, but still number over 100 million. And the number of Muslims is growing at a faster rate than any other community.
Well, Islam distinguishes itself from the great religions of the world. Most of the religions are named after the place or the founder or the people. But Islam is a qualitative term, in that it shows that there are people who have certain qualities. It gives you a feeling of the relationship of humanity to the Creator. So Islam actually refers to submission to the Creator, and it is not restricted to any nation, any race, or any people. It is the universal way. The Prophet Muhammad said, those of you who do not show mercy are not shown mercy. So the Islamic society is one that is expected as an essential element in its humanity to show mercy to others. He allowed people to literally, quite literally, be themselves, but again within guidelines and parameters. So he had this vast array of people around him. He had Arabs, he had non-Arabs, he had blacks, he had light-skinned people, and he had blind men. The major duties of Islam, the belief in one God, the prayer, the fasting, the giving of charity, going to pilgrimage once in a lifetime, all have a similar stream that they are running along it. And that is that they build within people moral character, they unite us with the rest of humanity, and they give us a type of purity that can help us through the trials of life.
Muslims pray in 5 different parts of the day. Each of the 5 daily prayers takes only a few minutes to perform. Praying in congregation is highly recommended and is a must on Friday, the Islamic Day of Congregation.
After the recognition of the unity of God, prayer is the most essential pillar in the Islamic teaching. It is the pivotal center of the Muslim society.
I consider it to be the magnetic force in the community, because you see, when Muslims are praying together, they're united. Plus, after the prayer, they're apt to speak to one another. They become aware of each other's needs after the prayer. If someone's having a problem, they'll discuss that problem. They'll strive to help each other. So it's always been a pulling force.
The next most important duty in Islam is called zakat, or the poor due. Muslims donate 2.5% of their excess wealth each year to the needy and less fortunate. The mosque has traditionally been the hub of this charitable activity. The purpose behind zakat is to purify one's wealth, which Muslims believe comes from God.
It provides Muslims with a rationale for social concern, not only a rationale for social concern, but a rationale for why this isn't just something that is sort of voluntary charitable, but rather that it is expected. It's an obligation that one has to pay to God. It's not something that one should just feel, well, I'm choosing to be a good person. It's rather the sense that I belong to this kind of holistic, integrated community, and I have an obligation before God to respond to others within that community. Well, that's exactly what zakat is. It is saying everybody do their little share, and look at how incredible and synergistic the power of that little share that you are doing when it is compiled with all of these millions of human beings. The World Bank states if 2.5% of the world's grain was put in a repository and then redistributed amongst the poor, there would be no starving people in the world. The Islamic tax of grain is 5%, and 10% if you didn't use irrigation but rain. Just the tax of grain, if that was implemented, we would not have conditions like Somalia, we would not have conditions like Ethiopia, we would not have a situation where 40,000 people die every day of hunger.
The third most important duty for a Muslim is to fast from dawn to dusk during the month of Ramadan, the 9th month of the Islamic calendar.
Again, what they do is reinforce the sense of community, the sense of community experience, because the fast of Ramadan takes place at the same time for all Muslims. And therefore, it's something that worldwide Muslims do. There are many benefits from fasting. The most obvious benefit is that one literally learns to restrain his passions hunger is a source of human passion. If we learn to discipline ourselves in those things, we can discipline ourselves in big things. The idea as a unifying factor, one, it unifies us with poor people. You can pity a poor person, but you don't empathize with them until you have experienced what they've experienced. So the fasting unifies you with people that are less well off than you are. And that encourages you to want to help those people. And people that look at fasting from the outside often think of it as, why would you want to give up food?